Welcome to another edition of Tom Brand 1 Dots. Hope you liked the first video. Vlogs. And my goal here is to either make you laugh or help you fall asleep. Simple. And I want to talk about something that's on my mind. Food shopping. Food shopping, such a task. And it could be actually quite a task, quite worrisome. Is that the word I'm looking for? Worrisome. And it begins when you first pull into the lot. I worry because I really never know really where to park. If you park your car by underneath that little roof where they usually keep the wagons, if you park right near it, then you're pretty much welcomed. You're welcoming a dent onto your car. But then it's like, okay, if you park farther out into the lot to avoid all the shopping carts, there's always, because it always happens, there's this always one car, no matter how far down the lot you're parked, where that car will park like right next to you. And then the whole initial problem that you were trying to avoid could very well happen with the car parked next to yours all the way down the lot. They take a cart, very careless with their cart, and they could hit your car. And it really doesn't get any better. So once you decide where you want to park your car, next come the tasks of getting the wagon. And usually, if you go to the same type of supermarket, week in and week out, it's your neighborhood supermarket, you're familiar with it. So a lot of them, these wagons, now you have to put the quarter into that little slot on the cart to release the cart from all the rest of the carts, and you have your wagon. But what happens here, and this is so silly, so stupid, if you're new to the shopping place, say you're in another town, you want to drop in, do your groceries real quick on the way home, if you don't know that those wagons take quarters and you don't have a quarter on you, then guess what? You, my friend, either have to go back to the car to get a quarter, because who carries quarters and change in their pocket? It's really hard. You can't really stick it in your wallet. Maybe if you're a female, you have it in your purse. But us men, at least speaking for myself, we really don't carry change in our wallet, nonetheless our pocket. So then you find yourself going back to the car when the car was parked all the way at the opposite end of the lot. You follow me so far? Grocery shopping is very worrisome and quite challenging. So now you have your cart. But what happens when you pull out that cart, put the quarter in, and then you notice newspapers in that cart? Means that was probably just used, and now you have everyone's hand sweat all over your cart because you picked the cart that someone probably just had. So now what do? You have to return that cart. That way you get your quarter back and you could go pick out another cart. Sometimes it's the papers that are in the cart, which kind of skeeves me out. But other times you may find a little napkin in there, fresh with boogers. So then it's like challenging finding the perfect cart, especially with these damn quarter contraptions. So what happens when you get that cart, and knowing my luck, it always happens, there's always a cart, and 9 times out of 10 it happens to us, where we get that cart with the busted wheel. Oh man, now we're once again trying to find a new cart. Beware too that with these new carts that you put the quarter in, these wheels often lock past a certain point in the parking lot. So now if you park your car all the way at the opposite end, there's a good possibility you might not be able to get to your groceries because your car is parked so far and your wagon only goes so far down the lot. It's quite worrisome. And now you get into the shopping area. You're ready to begin your grocery shopping. And what I usually do is I try to go late at night to avoid all the traffic. But then what happens, and you kind of like have to maneuver it around the cart, you find that that's prime time stocking hour when people stock their cart. It's where the grocery stocks their shelves. So then you have all these displays and all these crates of stuff waiting to be put out onto the shelves. So now you're taking your wagon and you're trying to maneuver your wagon that way you don't bump into these big things of food that's ready to be put out. And sometimes it's done so much to the point where you're all the way at the end of an aisle, and then you just realize there's that display of items waiting to be put out. You realize there's no way you're going to get through. So now you find yourself having to go all the way back down the other end of the aisle. That way you could move on to the next aisle. See, you try to avoid the rush, but then when you go late at night, you find yourself in a predicament trying to maneuver that cart. And it's always awkward too, because as you're going down the aisle, you ever notice when you're down the supermarket, no one ever sticks to the right. That way you go up the aisle, and then people going the opposite way stick to the left. That never happens. They just simply go straight down the aisle, and you find that people are in your way because they're going straight down the middle aisle. They don't adhere to that right or left of the aisle. Just straight down. Take up the whole aisle pretty much. How about this when it's a little bit awkward? A lot of people don't even look. When you're going at the end of an aisle, you're at the intersection of the aisle, crossways. You're coming one way. You're going north to south. The other one's going east to west. Who has the right of way? I think the person, you should really, when you do that, the person going east to west really doesn't look, really doesn't stop. They just completely go straight ahead, and as you're going north to south, they run into you and with their wagon. When you do this, you should really obey the rules of the road. Pretend you're on the roadway. So if I'm going north to south, I have the right of way. East to west waits. There's plenty of time. Let me go through to where I have to go through. So that's always challenging, is people maneuvering their shopping carts. And what about this? Don't you get a little bit skeeved out? Because I do. When you're doing like fruit shopping, like you sometimes, you know how people like to test the fruit. They like to taste if it's good or not. They take a bite into the peach, and then they just throw the peach into the bin, and there you are trying to pick out your peaches, your fruit for the week, and you come across that half-eaten peach where no one threw it away. They just thought to put it back in the bin. Food shopping could be quite the task, and it could be quite worrisome. And now, like, if you're a single guy Like food shopping is not really made easily for like the single guy or the single girl. I find like these guys have to either one of two things. Either you have to take the big shopping cart, okay? And what are you going to do? Take a big shopping cart? You're going to look silly with your 4 or 5 items, 6 items that you need because you're only one person. You're not a family of 5 where they fill up the whole cart. So it's like you don't really want to take a whole cart. But then if you take like a half cart, you look foolish pushing that around. So you're like, this is not right either. Such a small cart. Maybe get one of those handheld things. I mean, it just gets awkward for the single people, right? Because you don't want to be carrying like a big cart and you only have 4 or 5 items. But then the single cart doesn't really do you any favors either. It's like it's almost too small. So it's like, what if you have to get a case of water? Then what? It won't fit in that small little cart. So you have to get a big cart, but in that big cart you still don't have enough food to put in. It could be quite daunting. Another thing, you go down the paper aisle and you always want to get a good deal, but you ever notice there's so much toilet paper? Like, a toilet paper could be on sale. And you want to take advantage of that sale because every little bit helps. But if you're a Charmin's guy, what is the difference between Scott's? You never use Scott's. Do you take that chance with all the paper products that they have, let's say toilet paper, save yourself a couple of dollars and venture in, try that toilet paper. I mean, how much different can it be than the one that you use? You might strike a home run, or you might wind up with a rash on the ass. It could be quite challenging. I'm always I'm always worried about the manager's special at a supermarket or a deli. You ever wonder, like, why is it on a manager's special? Sometimes it's the expiration date. Usually it's not. And at that point you wonder, ooh, do I really want to take that chance on the manager's special? Like, ooh, what is wrong with this yogurt or this meat? Was it like one of the meat that someone brought back? Now, that could be also very, you're quite taking quite the chance. You know, when someone takes their meat, doesn't want it, puts it back on the shelf, they then do a manager's special. Do you want to take that chance? As the light went out here, interrupting our nice vlog. So, the supermarket is very challenging, quite worrisome. You go to the deli, and you ever you go to the deli, and now like the guys, like in girls, they wear this little thing for the hair, like a hairnet. And now they have this little thing for the beard. You ever see that? Like a beard net? Do you take the chance and get your Boris Head from this deli with a guy wearing a little beard little protection piece? Do you take your chances, or are you gonna move along and walk on to the next thing? Do you scrape that idea of getting that deli ham meat from the deli? The supermarket could be quite challenging. The other thing that also is very challenging to a lot of people when they go to a supermarket, you have 15 cans of, let's say, orange juice. Do they even make cans of orange juice? You get the point. 15 cans of orange juice. Is that one product, being that it's 15 cans, or do you count that as 15? A lot of people say it only counts as one, those 15. And then they proceed to go into express line where it's 10 items or less. They say I only have one item with my 15 cans. Quite challenging. It's quite daunting, and try explaining that to someone. Well, they'll look at you like you have 15 heads. So as you could see, this is quite challenging. Things I deal with. But we have to stay strong and positive, and together we could overcome. I thank you for listening to me. My goal is to make you laugh or make you go to sleep. Hopefully I did one of them. I welcome your thoughts, your comments down below. Until